We're going to get started with making our flipbook on our iPhone. In order to do this, we're going to use the Keynote app. So I'm just going to go ahead and open that up. And we want to start with a new presentation. So I'm going to click on the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner. And I'm just going to choose the classic white presentation because we just want a blank slate to get started with. I'm actually going to rotate my phone here so we could see it a little better. So I'm just going to click on this title here and press delete. And do that with the other elements as well, so we have a blank canvas to start with. Now this one is going to be our first slide, which is going to be a little bit different. So I actually want to go ahead and press and hold on that top left hand slide in the upper left hand corner. And I'm going to select copy. And then on the left hand side, I'm just going to tap and hit paste. So now we have a second slide as well. I'd like to point out that you should size your presentation in order to fit two photos side by side. So depending on your image sizes, you're going to want to change the size of your display to that. I'm going to show you an example today, pretending that we are going to do a PDF. And so I'm going to do a 8.5 by 11 document side by side. I'm going to click on the circle with the 3 dots, and that's going to bring up more options. And I'm going to scroll down to Document Setup. Now on the bottom right, I'm going to click Slide Size. And I'm going to choose the Custom option. I'd just like to point out that this is in points versus inches or pixels, so you may have to do some conversions with your inches or your pixels. You can always just type it in Google and it will bring up a calculator that gives you the right dimensions. As I said, I'm going to do a PDF, so I'm going to do two 8.5 by 11 images side by side. So the width is actually going to be 1224 points. And the height at 11 inches, because the height does not double, remember the height is the same, is going to be 792. All right, and then I'm just going to click done. And now we have resized it to two 8.5 by 11 size documents side by side. Now what I'd like to do is add a line down the center to make it look more like a book. So I'm going to click the plus sign. And I'm going to click the shapes, the second from the right in the top. I'm going to choose this line, the second one in. So I'm going to make this a straight line. And I'm just clicking and moving it around. I'm holding with my finger, and you can see now that's center. But I want to extend it all the way out. And it's totally okay if you go over. No one will see it. So now we have a center line right down the middle of our book. Now I'd like to add a shadow to the right-hand side near the center of the book to give it a little bit more dimension. So I'm going to go ahead and click the plus sign again. And we're still in the shapes, the second to the right at the top. And I'm going to choose the square. And I'm just going to move it around. I'm going to make it very thin and long, extend it. And I want it to go right next to our line that we made for the center. And now that's just a solid black line, but I'd actually like to turn it into a gradient. So I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to click the paintbrush. I'm going to make sure I've chosen style, and then I'm going to choose fill. I'm going to choose gradient, and I'm going to select a start color of a light gray. And I'm going to do that again, but I need to change the end color to a darker gray. I'd like to make it more opaque. So I'm changing the opacity. I'm going to turn it way down so that you can see our images underneath there. All right, so now we've got that, but I don't like the direction that the gradient is going. It's going from top to bottom. So I'm actually going to click on it again and select the paintbrush once more. I'm going to choose that fill, and then I'm going to change the angle. All right, and so now we have changed the angle so that it looks a little bit more like a shadow. Now, if you want to go ahead and you know that you have more pages and make a copy of this blank slate slide here, you can just hold it down, select copy, and then tap and paste. So you've got another blank slate now with the correct setup for your page. We'll go back to the second slide though and show you how we insert our image. So you're just going to go ahead and select the plus sign, and you're going to go to the top right image, and you're going to choose where you want to insert from. You can see you can choose a photo or videos from your phone. You can also insert from your iCloud, which is what I'm going to do. And you should choose your second image or your first image as you opened the book, not the image that you would be using for your cover. So imagine you are opening your book. What would be the first thing on the left-hand side? Okay, so I have my image that will be the first thing when you open the book, and I'm going to just drop it in, and it fits nicely because we've already resized to the correct dimensions. So I'm just going to plop that in there, and I'm going to go ahead and add the one for the next page. Okay, so I've just dropped in the second image. Now this one again will line up nicely. Just bring it over to the edge. Now you've got them both in there. Now for the second image, we want to make sure it goes behind the line and the shadow that we've created to make it look more like a book. Right now you can see it's over the top. So what I want to do is click on that second image and click the paintbrush. And I'm going to go to the upper right and click Arrange. And I want to move it all the way to the back. So I just dragged that slider all the way to the back. And now you can see that we are behind the line and behind the shadow. Now I do see that I have the tiniest bit of white space. And so what I actually just want to do is make that center line a little bit thicker. So I'm just going to move those out of the way. I'm going to click on that line and click the paintbrush. And I'm going to make the width a little thicker. So I'll just drag it to a 3-point line and see how we do there. Okay, now you've got your images resized. It looks like when you've opened your book. Now we need to actually animate it so that it looks like your page is turning. So I'm going to click on that slide on the left-hand side. And I'm going to arrow over until I see transition. I'm going to choose add transition and scroll down to where it says flop. Now you might want to choose page flip, but we're actually going to choose flop so that it looks like there's a bend in the middle. So choose flop, and then we actually need to change, it might say from bottom, from left to right. We want to change it from the right and hit done. Now you can press the arrow button to play it. And you see that when you click on it, it just looks like it's turned from the center. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually delete this third slide because it doesn't have the transition or anything. So if you want to make a copy the second slide. But now we're going to go back to the first slide so you can see how to make the cover image because it's a little bit different. So now we just have a blank document and we can leave it white. You could change it to be any color that you want. If you're putting this on top of like an image or a video, keep in mind it can't be transparent, so it will be white, or you should go ahead and color it the color of the background that you're going to be doing. I'll just leave it white for now, and I'll just insert my image, same as we did before. Now again, this is your front page image. This will be your cover. Okay, we'll just leave it in the center for now, and then we'll go up to the left-hand side and do transition, add transition, and this one we're going to do a magic move. Done. So we want to go ahead and duplicate the slide, and we're going to tell it to move to the right-hand corner. And click done. This slide, now we have slide 2. We need to go back and add the transition to the flop. From the right, remember? All right. And now if we go back to the beginning and press play, you can see it's going to slide on over. And now it's going to flip it, and then it will flip it again. And that was the end. But you can go ahead and just copy this third slide here and paste and go ahead and change the images in there. I'm just going to delete those and then add the next graphics. Again, you want to make sure that that second image goes behind all your other pieces. Because you've copied and pasted, the transition will be on there. So again, if you go back to the beginning and hit play, you'll watch it magically move and slide on over. And then you start to see your flipbook. All right, so now all you need to do is export this. And you can go ahead and click on the circle with the 3 dots again. And you can do export. So you can go ahead and export it as an animated GIF or a movie. I'm going to choose a movie today. And I'm going to choose the slide range all. And I want it to go to the next slide after only 1 second because I want it to go faster. I'm going to go ahead and click export. And now it says it's creating our movie. And now I can just save the video, which is going to save it into where my photos are. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and go into my photos and choose the video. And you can see it's just playing on its own now. It's just flipping on through. Now you have your flipbook video that you've made all from your phone. Like I said, this white background will stay white, but if you're putting it onto another image, make sure you change that white background to the color of your image or the background color of the graphic you're designing. And you can do that in Canva. You can do that in Over by just importing and uploading the video into there. You can also just use the video straight up as is.